Hey, you busy? Mm-mm. Okay, let me run something past you real quick. So after we got off the phone last time and I was saying, let peace be your guide in order to confirm that you're on the right path, I got to thinking, I said, it is a shame that we are expected to make great decisions and yet no one taught us how to make it. No one taught us how to make good life decisions, to be able to identify good indicators of a decision, bad indicators of a decision prior to making the decision and after, maybe midway and say, hey, this this is wrong. Even back down to Genesis when God was making things, after each completion of each thing, he stepped back and said, this is good. And then that's when he continued on to the other thing. Then somewhere in the midst of it thriving, he looked down and said, I regret making man. This is not a good idea anymore. So I need to go ahead and restart. And so I'm looking like, okay, the first couple of chapters shows us how to make good decisions. But again, not everyone is familiar with Genesis. Not everyone's saying, "Ooh, let me get my decision making skills from the Bible." That to be realistic, that's not what we're doing, right? And so I came up with a way, and you know how I get to thinking, and I'm visual, so I need to be able to, and I'm a teacher at heart, so I need to be able to give you something that is actually practical. So I said, okay, what if whenever we thought of decisions, we thought of a triangle, right? Now, if you anything over the age of 5, you need to be okay, because it sounded like you was looking at me like triangle, and I don't know if that was confusion on how I'm relating triangle to decision making or how you're gonna draw it, but I'm gonna go ahead and be petty, okay? So a triangle is a 3-point shape. Okay, pyramid and all that. Okay, I'm gonna get off of it. See, you getting a little spicy. So in a triangle, you have your top point and then you have your two lower side points, right? I want you to envision that the pinnacle of the triangle, the very top point, that is your life mission, your ultimate goal, and the ultimate purpose for your life, right? I feel like the two sides are, you just pretty much all should be connecting to your decisions and how you make it. Now, I don't want you to focus on the two sides. I want you to go ahead and envision the triangle. I feel like you can make decisions all throughout the inside of the triangle, right? Doesn't matter if you start at the left point, doesn't matter if you start at the right point, doesn't matter if you're making decisions in the middle, whatever the case may be. But two things need to be happening at all times. Number one, it needs to be happening inside of the triangle, right? Meaning, let's just give an example. If your life's mission, if the purpose on your life is for you to be a doctor because you have a healing ministry on you, and that's where you feel that God has purposed you, that's where your passion lies, that's where you just feel as I heard in this entrepreneur segment, it's called your sweet spot, right? So if that's your sweet spot, okay, great. So we're going to put at the very pinnacle, the top of the triangle, doctor. That means that every decision that is made within this triangle needs to be aiding you toward getting to the top of this triangle, the top of the purpose. So that means if you have to specify your particular your mission and your goal. So it can't just be, I want to be a doctor. No, let's narrow it down. You want to be a doctor? Where? What field? You see what I'm saying? Like there's so much that you have to specify, and all of that is the ingredients for inside of the triangle. So if a job opportunity comes up that says, hey, um, and you said, I want to be a doctor in, let's just say, Los Angeles because it's lucrative over there and I can get into plastic surgery and I want to be able to not only heal people but make them feel their best, and that's just what I feel I'm called to do. Okay, great. So if an opportunity comes over to take over a family practice in Nebraska, if that is not going to lead you somewhere to get the experience needed for you to go ahead and eventually end up in the plastic surgeon Los Angeles area, then that's a decision that is outside of the triangle, which means it's not an option at all. So we don't decide and we don't bring factors into play. We don't even consider it if it's not inside of the triangle and at the same time leading us to the step. And I give you a more practical example, one that blew my mind because I never even considered. If you have a passion that, you know what, I want to own a franchise, and let's just take the one that I know of offhand is McDonald's. McDonald's requires for you to have at least, I think, 5 years experience working in the McDonald's so that you can then have, you need a certain amount of capital. It's all these different prerequisites before you can actually go ahead and have your own franchise McDonald's, right? So if your top point, your goal, the pinnacle of the triangle is I want to be a franchise owner. Okay, great. And I want to be a franchise owner of McDonald's and I want to be it in this amount of time. Cool. Then you already know I need to be working in McDonald's. So that means that I don't care if they offer you a manager position somewhere in Chick-fil-A, Chipotle, whatever the lays. That means that that is outside of the triangle and it's not an option for you at all. I think sometimes we get caught up in our decisions need to go from A to B to C. It needs to have a corresponding, oh, okay, this is leading from one thing to another and it makes logical sense. But it doesn't have to be that way. It can go from A to D, back to C, all the way over to K, as long as we have kept in mind our end result is Z. And we're only moving what appears to be backwards, either to gain more information or to recoup and kind of defined what our pinnacle is. So you may start off with just saying, doctor. And then as you're taking certain jobs, you're like, you know what? I really love the geriatric population. So now you fine-tuned your pinnacle, the top purpose there. It's like, okay, we don't want to just be doctors. So if a position comes up and it's like, hey, such and such is looking for someone to co-partner with him at this pediatric facility, you already know, it's outside of the triangle for me. So that would be something you wouldn't consider. And I feel like the whole triangle thing, and it hasn't been trademarked, so you can go ahead and use it if you want to. But it really gives a clear depiction of, oh, because I feel like, especially in this season with entrepreneurship being at its, peak and people wanting to really dig into what is my calling and what is my passion, I think we really need to be careful on stuff that we create, like safety nets, right? You'll leave a job that's too stressful because you want to start your passion, but you'll get another job just to support your passion. But what you're really doing is saying, okay, just in case this passion doesn't pop off and become lucrative in a certain amount of time, at least I have funds coming in. But I think it is such a disservice to try to create the safety net to something that you didn't even give your all to yet. Like, what if you really looked? Because the only time that I've seen safety nets is when locations where people knew, okay, the chances of falling is going to be critical, right? You usually see it with people walking across high beams and things like that. But what if you put all your practice and energy into, I'm going to come up with ways that I can cross this high beam of my purpose so efficiently that I don't even have to think about a safety net. And I think that's where real faith comes in. That's where real courage comes in. Because when you start making plans with the no, there is no other plan. Like, this is the plan. And this is so much of the plan that I'm going to operate in a way that I understand I'm not creating a safety net, low key, aka a way of escape, a way for me to go ahead and push this, far further out, something that can happen in 2 weeks or a year or 6 months. I'm now pushing out because I think that it may take longer. So I'm creating all these, little caveats, and what I'm really doing is delaying my purpose and my arrival to my blessing, right? I mean, that's essentially what it is. I remember seeing on Shark Tank, I don't know if I told you this already, but I saw on Shark Tank and I was like, who is helping this guy make decisions? He came on here with this, he came on that show with this idea that was just like, it made you squint your eyes and there was no sun in the room, right? Essentially, what was it? So he wanted to have 9 iPad kiosks inside of each doctor's office. And when you picked up the kiosk, he wanted you to only have access to all medical ads. So you know how if you go to your doctor's office, they have a TV there. They're just pretty much showing, if it's a family practice or whatever the doctor is, they have like heart situations and medications, and it's just like ongoing commercials of just all things doctors, right? He wanted to do that, but he wanted to do it on that iPad kiosk. And it was going to cost the doctors a whole bunch of money. It was going to cost the people a whole bunch of money that would have picked up the iPads. And it was just like, sir, I don't get it. I think his end result was he wanted to, I guess, make a living off of paid advertisement. And that just didn't make sense. But that's just not the kicker. The kicker is that this man took out 2 mortgages on his home. He has 3 children. He said he cleared out all 3 children, all 3 of them. Their college funds was cleaned out. Right. And I looked at that screen and I felt, first, after confusion to the maximum degree, I felt extremely bad for him. Because sir has a wife. And so I'm like, who is helping him make decisions? Now, that's one thing to say, no, I believe so wholeheartedly in this. It's going to, I know that I'm just waiting for my big break, and I'm willing to invest whatever it takes. It's one thing to go ahead and take out one mortgage. It's another thing to take out and clean out one child, just eliminate their option for going to college, just scot free. They had the opportunity, but daddy had a better idea, right? But who stopped him along the way to say, what is your end goal? Because that way you're able to set up better decisions. So if he would have came to anyone with half of a brain and half of a care to say, okay, I see this entrepreneurship in you, and I love the any means necessary go-getter that I'm starting to see in you, but what's the landing goal? Like, what's the pinnacle of the triangle, if you will? And if he would have said, well, I want to get to a place that doctors and other pharmaceutical companies are able to advertise, and then I get paid for that. I want to be the middleman of the advertisement. Someone should have helped him fine-tune that, because the way that our society is going, that's not really a market. We still got the old school pharmaceutical reps coming to, doing the lunch and learn, giving samples. And we already got that. Somebody's already getting paid to do that. And they've been doing it for eons. But you cannot go into an average doctor's office with this expensive equipment that's going to be expensive for a doctor, pretty much trying to go ahead and probably pay off their student loans. And then you're going to charge the people that's in the waiting room, and we already have a hard time or difficult time being okay with the copay. You understand? And so it's like, you didn't even offer anything that was just like, oh, this is a phenomenal idea. It wasn't like you said, hey, I mean, I don't even know enough about that field to say this was the better idea. But did you do your research, sir? Did you do something else that said, okay, what is it that I'm essentially trying to get to? So because he didn't have clear points, he was just inside the triangle, outside the triangle, whatever was going to hit. And pretty much he was on his way. He told the sharks on Shark Tank, he was like, listen, at this point, he's on his way to bankruptcy. You think? You was on your way 2 mortgages ago. 2 other kid freaking college tuition ago. All the way over there, sir. All the way over there. And so, but again, that's why it's so important to know where you're going. It's almost like getting in the car, buckling up, you have everything that you need in the trunk, and you just start driving. And it's like, okay, where are you going? But it has to be sunny. Oh, okay. So I just know that I can't be here no more. Right. So when you say sunny, are you saying sunny like majority of the time? Or you saying you want real hot summers? Like, what is it? I'm sorry, what is it? And so that should be the equivalent to when you get in the car of your life and you start making decisions. Have you refined it? Have you narrowed down to this is what I want? Have you narrowed down to this is what I'm good at? This is what it's going to take. And for crying out loud, did you count the cost? Because I'm sure if old buddy would have sat down with his wife and was like, look, this is probably going to require us to almost lose our home. Okay. I'm also going to all the stuff that we built in the 529 plans, the college plans for all three kids. Yeah, I'm willing to go ahead and knock that off. As a matter of fact, I'm willing to go ahead and clean out both of our retirement accounts, any means necessary. I'm sure if that was the conversation off back, it would have been like, okay, so how much is this going to take? Because you can't ruin all our lives with this one dream that wasn't all the way thought out, right? And what is it that you want to do? Oh, now you start asking questions. You start asking questions when you realize how much this is going to cost. Which brings me to my other point. The reason why this really was like profound to me, because I remember when I was studying for my undergrad, I'm well into school. And so one of my homegirls who was also in college, she was like, so a person in your field, what's their annual income? I was like, I don't know. She was like, what? You're going to school and you don't know what's the range of income you'll be bringing in? I said, no, I'll have a degree. And so she took out her college book, which looked like it was the encyclopedia, at least A through D, glued together. And she was like, look, the reason why I'm going for this is because this. And look how much, physical therapists make. And actually, occupational therapy is more this. And it was so detailed and so refined. And I just was like, I didn't do any of that at all. I pretty much knew. My mother said, hey, you need to go ahead and go to college, okay? I need you to start thinking about it now. I know you're in second grade, but I need you to start thinking about that now. What is it that you want to do, ma'am? And let's go ahead and start getting you into positions to go ahead and do so. I remember signing papers, and I remember being told, you need to go ahead and speak to your academic advisor. And I sat at the academic advisor's desk, and I said, hey, this is what I want to do. And my only concern was, when will I be graduating? For the classes that I'm taking, and I'm also working full time, write down on a piece of paper my graduation date. And he was like, okay. Usually don't get asked that question, and that's because the way that I'm wired, counting the cost for me, I need to know how much of my energy I'm getting ready to invest. I'm not too nervous about, the financial. Although the frugal Franny in me, she sometimes sticks her head out like, what y'all doing? Nobody called me to this meeting? Oh, y'all bugging out. No, give me back my 3 pennies because I don't know who y'all thought. She comes out from time to time. But the real captain of my particular car, the real captain of my ship is how much energy am I about to invest? Because I find that with me in particular, I can go through any storm, with God, Holy Spirit, all that cool. But if I haven't locked my brain in on, okay, this is where I'm setting you at, then I am likely to be swayed to and fro with my feelings. Like, I am the person that when I'm exercising, I'm like, come on, baby, 3 sets. That's all you got to do, 3 sets. And you best believe on the 3rd set, she's done. I have only committed to 3, sir. Ma'am? I only committed to 3. Don't ask me for 4 because you didn't tell me prior to this how many we was getting ready to do. When I go on the treadmill, I am very clear. Boop, doo, 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 doo. That's how much I'm setting my mind for. And I will thug out this particular time frame. But don't come behind me talking about, give me 5 more minutes. Nope, you're not going to get it from me. Because had you said that on the onset, I would have been able to, just do a little refinement and said, hey, we're going to add some other 5 minutes. I'm not in here to be Wonder Woman, okay? I didn't come in here with the cape. So if you was looking for a cape, you should have texted me. I would have bought the cape. But I digress because I'm getting a little bit aggressive, okay? But again, isn't the triangle doesn't it help you see the triangle could be used for all kind of things. I'm telling you now, it could be used for dating, because the way that people are lowering their standards, it's like all they got to do is breathe and they have potential. It's just, and you heard me talk about that before. Don't even get me started. You know how I feel about it. But it just truly needs to look like, because sometimes what we count as losing, or as a, oh, you degraded. No, sometimes that downgrade is actually the setup for what we're trying to accomplish, the pinnacle of our triangle. So if you go ahead, like me, raise the hand. Okay, great. If you go ahead and sell your luxury car just so that you can drive around something, more reasonable on gas, and that's, a putt-putt, cool. But guess what that did? That freed up some funds so that I could have a down payment for a house. You see what I did there? Don't be fooled. Don't let these people trick you. And don't trick yourself into thinking, man, what am I doing? No, that's why you need to keep reminding yourself, what are you doing? Don't be buddy with you 2 mortgages and 3 college loans. I mean, and he's on there crying, we're getting ready to lose our childhood home. I'm sorry, but that's what you chose, sir. And that is the danger in not counting the overall cost. What is it going to cost you? The level of investment is not only financial, as you see with Sir, as you see with Mr. Sir, it's also an emotional investment. Because let me tell you, and I think he had like a weird number. I don't remember the number offhand, but I know it was enough to say you didn't get the point yet. He had to say a number between 5 to 10 years that he was on that path. Sir, you cleared up things that take people lifetime to build in 5 to 10 years because you had a great idea that was an incomplete thought. I mean, that's just outright ridiculous. So whenever you make a decision, or matter of fact, it's not whenever you make a decision, I want you to go ahead and make sure that your pinnacle is refined. Is it refined? And make sure, again, you can make decisions wherever you like within this triangle. But if it takes you away from the pinnacle, if there is not a gain in some type of way, then you are now in the danger of being outside of the triangle. Now listen, I ain't gonna cost you nothing. I'm not gonna charge you. But you gotta admit the triangle was pretty good. Nope, don't even stunt. It was great. When I was thinking about it, I was like, ooh, I'm gonna be the first one to come up with that. Probably not, but it feels good when I say it, so just leave me alone, okay, great? But seriously, you know what these conversations are. They're thought-provoking conversations. So I want you to go back to your good kindergarten skills and draw that good, solid triangle. Don't even color it in, because I don't want you thinking. Matter of fact, no, trace it with the crayon outside and then like shade it in. Like really show that, kindergarten was some of your best years, And I want you to, at the very top of the pinnacle, I want you to put a refined purpose. Where is it that you are driving to? When you get into the car of your life, what's the destination? And then I want you to make sure that everything that comes to you, the way that you confirm if it's actually a decision, you have to say, does this take me to or set me up some type of way to get to this refined destination, or is it pulling me away? And that's how you truly know, okay, I'm still in the running to getting to my destination, right? Excellent. Wonderful talk. But as my good nanny says, all right, I ain't gonna hold you. I'm gonna go ahead and let you get to your crayon and your coloring. Use purple, one of my favorite colors. Go ahead and just, real darken the outline and then shade it real pretty. It's just so pretty. You don't want to use purple? Red? I ain't gonna hold you. Go ahead and use the colors you want. I'll call you later to see how that's going, okay? All right. I'll talk to you later. Later.